Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Speedify Live Office Hours. I'm your host, Alex Gizis, and this is Will. We are, some of the people who work on Speedify. So if you have questions, this is your chance to ask them. It's office hours. So how do you ask a question? Well, you take this thingamabob and you type a question in the comments, YouTube or Twitch. We will see them, and it will be awesome. So while we're at it, give us a follow, smash like, whatever the buttons say, wherever you are watching. You should hit them so you know when we go live, and so that the algorithm knows that people care about us. So the season of savings has started. Before we start talking about technology and stuff, Speedify.com, we have our greatest deal of the year. You can save up to 80% on various plans. Only at Speedify.com, so check it out. We're in a lot of other app stores and stuff, but not all of them make it easy to offer the kind of sales we want to offer. So Speedify.com, it's right there on the homepage. Click store, and you will see it. It is fantastic. All right, enough of that. That's a big announcement. You should check that out. So again, ask questions, and it'll be awesome. So we are live again next week. I think at some point in the holidays we'll probably take a break, but not yet. So same time, same place, next Wednesday. So latest version of Speedify. Hey guys, I see everybody saying hi. I'm not going to respond to everyone saying hi. I see it. I appreciate you guys. Go ahead and say hi. But I'm not gonna stop the stream to say hi. Although I just did.
So what's new in Speedify?
What is new in Speedify? So what is the latest version out there?
I don't know. I'm pretty heads down on our router stuff, to be honest.
It's 16.1.1.
It's a bit faster for sure.
Yeah.
I think Lutz has been cranking out some encryption stuff for secure settings. I think that there's always some performance and stability improvements. Things get faster over time.
Yeah.
DOH stuff, DOH over DNS.
Yeah, so
fancy.
DNS over HTTPS, right? So we always encrypted your DNS traffic when you were running Speedify on its way to our server. So somebody listening in on your network could never hear your DNS, right? They couldn't see what websites you were looking at because we encrypted it all. And then a whole lot of you guys would be connecting into one of our servers, and then the DNS traffic would come out of that unencrypted. Now you couldn't tell which user it was for and things like that, and we often spread it out among different DNS servers where it was going, but it was unencrypted from there on. So at least theoretically, somebody could spy on our server and have some idea what websites our users were visiting. No more. Now we encrypt it all the way to the DNS server. So exciting. Another improvement in security and privacy and all of that. Improved spotting high priority calls coming through Microsoft Teams. They use something called RTMPS. And now we spot it better.
Better. We always spotted it.
Yeah.
We have two modes for spotting streams. There's just when we know that it's going to an address that is for streaming, and then when the traffic looks like
the standard QoS rules, right? Lots of companies have these. I know this IP address is, belongs to YouTube, so it's probably someone uploading a video, right? But then we also have
streaming detection. Yeah, when the traffic looks like it's relatively consistent and stable over a period of time, we say that kind of looks like a stream. Yeah.
Somebody said to me, "Oh, that's interesting. So you're doing, what did he call it? Envelope detection?"
I don't know what that means.
I was like, it was a technical term I had never heard before, but once he said it, I was like, yes, that sounds like the technical term for what we're doing.
Yeah, we have envelopes.
Because you can tell, right? A voice call sends 30 packets a second, right? They do. That's what they do. So. All right, so that Speedify work on restricted regions like China and Myanmar. It depends. We do a lot to make sure that we work in various countries. We are not, I'll just be honest, we're not really investing in trying to get through the Great Firewall of China. We have users in China who have it working and are happy, and we have people who try it in China and say it doesn't work for them, and that is largely life. For a long time, we definitely were working in Myanmar, although I haven't checked very recently. After that coup, we had a lot of users for a long time.
Yeah. It depends on the country and what restrictions they put in place. And some places make it illegal or problematic to run a VPN in a country.
Yeah, and so how do I put this? We are trying to make sure that Speedify never accidentally doesn't work. Right? That if you go to a library or a hospital and their network isn't really set up for Speedify to work, that we will still work. But our real focus is on this performance issue, trying to be the fastest VPN, which we are, trying to be the most reliable VPN, which we are. But when it gets into the cat and mouse game, where the Chinese government has a full-time staff of people whose jobs are to make sure that VPNs don't work. Yeah,
Yeah, when the
I'm not hiring a full-time staff to do battle with the government of China at this time. Right? I mean, they probably have more people working on blocking. I'm sure I bet they have 10 times as many people working on blocking VPNs as we have people at this company.
they probably have more people working on blocking Speedify.
We have working
here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. I am from one region that it works perfectly for me, but please improve the connecting time. We're always working on that. I wonder, so one thing we do is we have a list of protocols. Basically, we go through them ordered from the fastest protocol to the protocol most likely to work on super restricted networks.
Yeah.
So probably your connection time is taking a while because our super fast protocols we designed ourselves might be being blocked for you. Although, obviously, it could be lots of things. When is the release of self-hosting plans?
Soon.
Soon. And when I mean soon, I mean it was so close to being like yesterday. We are really, really close. So we are, watch this page. I assume that next week we'll be telling you more about how to get into things. Our thinking is we're going to make a big marketing push starting at the beginning of the year about how you can get self-hosted servers now, but we're going to do a little bit of a beta test and stuff. If you are really ready to go, if you have a server with a public IP address, like it has to really be on the internet, not a computer in your house behind your NAT. Send an email to support@speedify.com. Tell them you'd like to try the self-hosted server. Tell them a little bit about your setup too. But yeah, it needs to be a computer that is actually on the internet, not hidden behind a bunch of things. Are general programming questions in scope?
Sure.
Sure.
Why not? So maybe
if there aren't a ton of Speedify questions, yeah, we may. This may devolve into a conversation about programming languages because
we could talk about programming languages.
I heard you had a few things to say about JavaScript.
And
I
heard you had a few things to say about JavaScript.
All I was saying is that JavaScript is the IKEA of languages. It is, right? I mean, it looks nice. And it's widely available. But like code you write in JavaScript doesn't last.
Yeah.
Right? At the rate the standards are changing, at the rate that every framework gets replaced every 3 years, the changes in the browser. When people write JavaScript, they don't think of it as an investment, right?
I mean, I try to. But
You write it, and it's gonna be garbage, right? It's like fish or house guests, right? They're great at first, but in about we'll call it 3 years, it's gonna stink, right? And I think this is, part of why this happens is because they keep rewriting all the frameworks over and over, right? Who remember jQuery and then React and then Vue and then, Flutter. Like, it all just keeps getting reinvented over and over. And I think one of the reasons that happens is because no one expects their code to last very long. And one of the reasons no one expects their code to last very long is because the frameworks are being rewritten all the time, right? I think it's a circular, nobody expects anything to last there.
yeah, compare that with like Linux, where every release is stable.
Linux,
And there can be no breaking changes.
no breaking changes.
None.
It is
In user
bonkers
space.
how angry they get. That, one little change that, this one single program in the world doesn't work on a new version of Linux. And woohoo! People are in trouble. People are getting reamed on the mailing lists.
Yeah, those mailing lists are tough.
Right?
Dude, people get pissed at each other.
It is brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, but JavaScript, I think, it might just be that there's so many more JavaScript developers, so the churn is like, well, everyone has an idea about how to do something. Although the frameworks, they kind of all look the same at this point,
Yeah, they kind of do.
Yeah.
At what point does this start getting, at one point jQuery was everywhere. Every interactive website was built with jQuery. And then, people just realized like, oh, this is like fixing problems in the JavaScript language and the core stuff. And then the best parts of it they picked out and put in the browser. And now it's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how much of that had to do with odd browser implementations like Internet Explorer.
Oh, well, that was horrific. It's funny how these corporate interests affect these like open things, right?
Yeah.
Microsoft just didn't want the web to succeed, right? They were the kings with Visual Basic before the web showed up. And so they built Internet Explorer and they tried to like get in there and take over. But at the same time, they wanted it to fail. At one point, they had a Visual Basic script you could use in addition to JavaScript and websites, but no one else picked it up. And they just really wanted the whole thing to die, right?
Yeah. So what's up with Oracle and JavaScript? Anything?
So Oracle, through acquisitions, owns the trademark to JavaScript.
Okay.
JavaScript is a trademark of the Oracle Corporation, and they're doing nothing with it. I mean, obviously, their website has some JavaScript in it and things, but they're not building any products with JavaScript in the name, which is a requirement to keep the trademark. You have to show you're using it in the marketplace, that you have your name on it, right? If we stopped selling Speedify for 10 years, we wouldn't be allowed to keep the trademark on Speedify. Government would say, well, let someone else use the name, right?
They must have some good lawyers, though, because they still have the trademark.
Yeah, so there are lawsuits going on, and interestingly, their lawyers seem to have made mistakes or had so little to go on that, they showed, as evidence they were using the trademark, they turned in, screenshots of other people's websites. Like, these aren't your websites. It's hard to know, like, did their lawyer go crazy or use ChatGPT? Or did they just have no evidence at all, so they just put something there? Yeah. All right. Have plans to add Thailand, Hong Kong, India server. Oop. A lot of interesting things there. So Hong Kong and India, we used to have servers in both places. They put in laws we couldn't live under. Laws about turning over all of your data to the government without a warrant kind of laws, both of them. So our real answer for both of those guys is Singapore. We have lots and lots of servers in Singapore. Interestingly, I was reading a report about this just yesterday. All of the VPN companies have done what we've done. They've moved all their servers out of Hong Kong and India and moved them to Singapore. A number of them, though, are labeling those as their Hong Kong or India servers. So when you pull up a list of countries, you see India, you see Hong Kong, and you don't complain like you do with us. Do some trace routes. You're not in India. So a lot of the other VPN companies have just been lying to their customers. I mean, they've been doing the right thing, and they've moved their servers, or not just, as far as I know, following these laws to turn over their customer data to the Chinese and Indian governments without so much as a warrant. They're not doing that, as far as I know, God forbid, because they have moved their servers to Singapore just like we did, but they're putting out misleading statements and letting you click on India and telling you you're connected to India, but it isn't. All right. If that's the case, why are so many companies using Node.js as a backend, trying to figure out which language to focus on? Well, I'll say, in fact, we are using Node.js, which is server-side JavaScript, as our backend, right? And anytime you purchase Speedify, a whole bunch of JavaScript on our servers kicks in to update our database and send your Speedify app the thumbs up, this is a paying customer, and all of that stuff. So why do we use JavaScript on the server side?
I think that there's a lot of momentum behind it. I mean, you're in good company if you're writing a server with Node. I mean, you're not going to be lacking for support. There's a lot of people that are doing the same things as you, and problems will get solved quickly.
And there's so many libraries.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine?
So many, anything you want to do. I want to connect to one of these databases.
I would say it would be
There's
odd.
a bunch of code there.
It would be odd if you wanted to make your backend in assembly. Don't do that. I don't know. I mean, JavaScript is, there's a good ecosystem.
Yeah, when we were talking about this, one of the comments is, for our backend, we don't care that much about speed.
So our backend, the daemon, and so that's
right.
Yeah.
The part of our backend that your data packets go through when you're on Speedify, we care about speed, and that is not Node.js. What is that?
That's basically the same binary, but it handles packets in the opposite direction that we run on, your phone.
Right. So optimized, compiled C++
code.
native code.
Right.
But a lot of the code for helping you pick which server you should connect to.
Yeah, there's no.
That's
reason.
JavaScript code.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, despite what I said, a lot of it now is getting to be a lot of years old. But that's server side not running in a browser, which is a pretty big difference.
Yeah. So Node, you're going to be doing very different things in the browser that you are.
But they have breaking changes too,
They do.
right? Node on a regular basis, it'll be like, oh God, can't upgrade to version 18, it breaks this, this, and this. And then we have to have 2 days worth of work updating to the new version of whatever in Node.
Interesting.
Still?
Still?
2 days. Yeah.
How many times can you
break
change
stuff.
the same thing? I don't understand.
It turns out a lot. All right. A lot of people start with HTML, CSS, and learn JavaScript to supplement without really knowing how to program. That is absolutely right. And in fact, at some level, like with most languages, I feel like I've really learned the languages. With JavaScript, I'm like asking Claude to just make the changes for me. And before that, I was hitting Stack Overflow and cutting and pasting code, right? When it comes to stuff in the browser, as I said, there's so many people using it that there's like so much code out there.
Yeah.
It
might be the.
And I'm often not doing very, I want a nice menu. I want a good graph, right? Other people have made nice graphs. Other people have made nice menus.
I will continue requesting changes on your.
I have to say, my JavaScript has improved so much.
Dramatically, yeah.
because you are such a pain in the ass. So
I approved
I,
your PR
I
outright
have been
this morning.
programming for a while. I wasn't programming. I am programming for real. My code is going into things these days, and I have told Will to review and approve every line of code I write. And if my code is not excellent, don't let it through.
Yeah. It is. It's good. I think it's good. I approved your PR, both of them this morning.
I know. Look at that. It is crazy. All right.
Oh, yeah. So speaking of this, if you're running that router stuff, you're running Alex's code.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. At one time, I saw the router recognized that an update was available and could update from Speedify GUI. I'm on version 16.03, and it does not recognize latest 16.11. That is coming. The Miri OS router stuff. We probably should have shoved down newer. 16.11 came out, and we had so many improvements to the other parts of the OS that it turned into more of a major release. People are testing it for release right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes out today. So sorry, you guys are a couple days behind, but we have new graphs for you. There's really cool stuff we got in there. All right, ActiveX sucks. Some cameras I use still need an old version of IE to work with an ActiveX installation to be able to change the config. Seriously?
What's ActiveX?
ActiveX was this thing Microsoft came up with in the 90s where you could embed COM components, because you don't know what those are, directly into web pages. So you could have Microsoft objects like, when you have an Excel spreadsheet embedded in a Word doc, that's COM, right? You can have a piece of another program embedded in there. It's this whole Microsoft standard. Standard might actually be from the 80s, but it was popular in the 90s. And they put it in the browser. And, the idea was that you'd have hunks of Windows code that would get downloaded with the web page and shown in the page. But obviously people didn't have Windows, lots of people. And say, I don't know, they came up with all these hacky things. And yeah, this is all part of the whole trying to make the web more like Windows. And it really didn't succeed, although I can't believe there's still
I found it so odd.
cameras around that need it. That's horrifying. I mean, I assume.
Microsoft always seemed to want to do its own thing, in my mind.
Yeah.
They wanted their own non-Unix kernel.
What was it? Embrace, enhance, extinguish, or whatever it was.
Oh dear, no, I don't know that.
Oh, the Microsoft, when a new standard would come out, or something they saw as competitive, they jump in and say, this is wonderful. We're a fan of this new technology. We're going to help improve it. And then they would purposely screw it up.
Amazing.
And then the technology would go away because it was all screwed up now.
Is that what they're doing with AI?
That was in the 90s when everyone's right? Embrace and I'm not sure if the middle one was enhance. Embrace, enhance, and extinguish, I think was what it was. Do you have solutions for bonding on mobile devices? SRTLA streaming is available with some apps, but I have not found any hardware that allows bonded networks on my phone. Yeah, we've got apps in the App Store, Android, iOS, and they really do let you use multiple internet connections. You can use your cellular and the Wi-Fi at the same time. With the USB-C on some of these devices, like the Apple ones, you can actually hang USB network cards off them. At various points, there have been versions of Android that have done dumb things, like when they saw you had an Ethernet card, just turn off your Wi-Fi. And,
Okay.
yeah, the code was in the connection manager. We found it, and I was like, oh, God. But they're not going to let us fix a bug in what we think is a bug in Android. But yeah, no, it works. And you can use pair and share on mobile if you have multiple mobile devices on the same Wi-Fi network. they can volunteer to let the other devices use their cellular. So you can end out, if you have set up a fast local network, you can have 3 different cell phones and pull cellular from all of them. I was the one who went React first before HTML and CSS. I still don't know HTML and CSS. That's fine. Yeah, so of course React is this framework built by Facebook originally, but it's all open source, for building interactive apps in web pages, right? So it got all these components and stuff, and this whole way for interactions to work. And once you start using it, like, you're really programming React, not right.
I don't think I've done more than like demo projects in React. I've done a lot of Vue though, for little side things. I've heard Vue is great. It's what our server-side team uses for front-end stuff.
Yeah,
I like Vue. I assume it's similar to
Yeah, so Vue, at one point, people were very concerned. What were they? Facebook did some strange things with changing the license and some comments about patents on React, and made everybody freak out. And they built Vue, which was a completely open source. No corporation was going to sabotage us. Almost the same as React. And became very popular. And then I think Facebook backed off on those changes. They realized they actually were losing users. So now we have a bunch of similar things. Any plans for higher speed dedicated servers? Yes. All right, they're coming. Also, the self-hosted. We definitely have companies and people who have plans for their crazy self-hosted servers. And we look forward to that. Any lunch recs? I need a video and a food genre.
Jordan Scott. Hold up. I know that guy.
Oh!
Hey, Jordan.
Hey, Jordan.
My guy. Hey.
Mr. Jordan.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I am taking a sommelier class. I am watching nothing but like wine videos. History of wine, how to tell the difference between different grapes when you sip them. I am completely obsessed. I am trying to get certified. So that's all I watch these days. That's all I listen to. I highly recommend it, but if you don't care about wine. So.
Especially for lunch.
Ah, there it is. Embrace, extend, extinguish. It was extend. That's right. That's what Microsoft was always accused of. That the new technology would come out, they would say, "This is amazing. We love it. We're huge fans. We're going to help improve it," and they'd make their improvements, and they'd kill it. It was very clever because everyone would get excited, like, "Oh my gosh, Microsoft is going to help us. They're putting all this money in." And they were so good with it. Are you familiar with the Microsoft using stacker disk compression technology without permission after a demo? This sounds familiar. It sounds familiar. I don't honestly remember the details now. Still looking into the Bluetooth to TCP UDP upgrade. Maddening. Dude, I just do not use Bluetooth for networking at all anymore. It is so horrible, it's hard to believe, right? It adds more than 100 milliseconds of latency. How could it do that? There has to be some giant memory buffer it creates to hold your packets to not give them to the other side, right? It's like a 5 megabit link.
I don't know.
But you end up with like a 500K connection with 100 milliseconds of latency. So somewhere it has this huge buffer of memory they create almost specifically to slow down your internet. Because why else would that memory be there? So, Bluetooth, I am done with it, buddy. So, Speedify, by the way, it has this automatic priority detection. So here's Speedify for those who aren't
And
familiar.
Bluetooth is in jail.
And Bluetooth is in jail. So the default priority is essentially the cost, right? So if it's primary, we use it all the time. If we think it would help your internet, use it. Secondary is we're okay with it being used, but we prefer it being a little less. So if you're only doing a little bit of traffic, it'll go out your primaries. But if your primaries are broken, or if you're really doing a big download, the secondary connections will get used too. And then third is backup. Backup says don't use this unless we need it to stay online. So if you leave it in automatic, what we do is anything that looks like fiber, a cable modem, or Ethernet, we'll make it primary. Anything that looks like cellular, we will make secondary. And anything that looks like Bluetooth, and only Bluetooth, we put in jail as a backup connection because it is so bad. It holds onto your packets for so long. I mean, it's one thing to be slow, but the extra latency, it just doesn't make any sense. Just send it. Current dedicated server is expensive, $900 a year. So with the self-hosted server, we are going to have a number of options. There will be like single user server licenses that cost significantly less. I'll say the licenses, be honest, when we host a server, obviously we get stuck with the bandwidth bill and the maintenance, but we have gotten the maintenance down to a science. We press a button and a server is rented and the software is installed and it shows up in our database and it goes online. The self-hosted servers, we end out with a lot more support questions. Does it work on this? Does it work on that? Oh, I have this weird version of Linux. Okay. So the support costs are much higher. So don't expect it to be cheaper. I'll just say that. Is TypeScript slower than JavaScript? Why is Microsoft planning to rewrite TypeScript in Golang? So one, what is TypeScript?
TypeScript is JavaScript with types. One of the big problems with JavaScript is that it has very weak typing. And when you write, hundreds of thousands of lines of code, you can make terrible mistakes with that stuff. But there's some basic typing that goes a long way. And that's just TypeScript. It's JavaScript with...
So why don't they add that to JavaScript?
I don't know if they can. People are very cautious about backwards compatibility with JavaScript, the language, not the libraries necessarily. But you need to make sure that websites doing weird things still run correctly. It's also hard to agree. I mean, maybe you could get types into JavaScript, but I'm not sure that it would be totally appropriate to put that through a big standardization process and get all the browsers to accept it. And types are supposed to be, checked and then elided. I mean, there should be no performance difference between
Right. So the question is TypeScript slower than JavaScript?
No, of course not.
Okay. So then why is Microsoft rewriting it in Golang?
They're probably talking about the compiler. I haven't heard about that.
Yeah. My guess is because JavaScript is slow.
JavaScript's not that slow. It's
Right?
not that slow. It's pretty fast.
But Golang is up into the native speeds, right?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. That seems like a waste of time to me. I don't know.
Fair enough. I accept that answer. Yeah. All right. That'll be a good dive. Yeah. Yeah, man. The wine stuff. So I've been taking the sommelier class. And
What class?
sommelier at the Wine School of Philadelphia. And,
Amazing.
Sure. This is a personal endorsement, not the company. And the most shocking thing to me is it's all real.
What is?
Right? You you can actually taste a wine and say, this is from California. This is made with, Cabernet grapes. Like people could tell what grape it's made with. They can tell the difference between, American wineries and European ones with a sip. I mean, there's a whole system to it, and now I sort of know the system. My palate is not sensitive enough to get. I get less than half of it. But if you could tell, like, they're not just making it up. It's not old bogus. I guess I've escaped the Dunning-Kruger for wine now, right? I'm not yet an expert, but I could actually recognize that expertise is a real thing, and I think I had some doubts before, right? Kind of thought people were making it up.
So do we get wine for lunch now?
Still need to get work done. But
I'll improve your PRs.
Ooh. So sad. All right. So, JavaScript is actually now 30 years old.
Still a little older than me, thank God.
I see. I remember it. I was in my 20s when that showed up, right?
Huh?
So what was it called at first? It had ActionScript? No.
Oh yeah, it did.
It had a totally different name. And in this great coup, the Netscape guys went out and met with Sun Microsystems, and they had just made Java, and that was a hot new language. And they tricked them.
And they took their language that they made in 10 days and they said, we're calling it JavaScript and we're getting it standardized. What?
They somehow convinced the Sun people that it would be good for Java if their scripting language was allowed to use the Java trademark too as JavaScript. And no one, what were they thinking?
No.
So it became JavaScript. And apparently after they got the agreement, they made a couple changes to the syntax, changed it to dots to call things, to call methods the same way that, they made a few changes to make it vaguely like Java, but not very much like Java. And that's it, right? I think that's why Oracle actually, so then Oracle bought Sun, and that's how they ended out with the trademark on JavaScript, which never even was Sun's thing. They just held the trademark because they had the trademark on Java, which they actually had products for. So it was totally a weird thing. That's right, the spit bucket. I'll be honest, I always put the spit bucket out there. I don't use it, except sometimes they purposely give us bad wines, right?
To make sure you're paying attention.
This is what a bad wine tastes like. This is a wine that's so acid you can't drink it. You're like, oh, ooh. And of course those go in the bucket. But otherwise, I have a tendency to, when done sipping, just poof. That's the problem. All right. So again, Season of Savings is what we're calling it now. If you guys haven't bought it yet, Speedify.com. Huge discounts on yearly and 3-year plans. And the 3-year plan's back. A couple people complained. Never really went away. It just got pushed down the page so far that people thought it had gone away. Back up to the top of the page. So yeah, there are a bunch of deals there. Go check them out. On YouTube, the Speedify channel, we've got all kinds of cool stuff. We've got arguments about using Claude for prototyping, using Python or Rust. IPv5, the missing IPv5 protocol, that turned into a whole interesting research thing because I didn't. Some people asked me what happened to IPv5, and I was like, what? There's 4 and there's 6. And I actually now know the stories of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so we got a video up there where we tell the story of 5. Got to do another video where I tell story 1, 2, and 3 because I haven't told that yet. Nobody remembers it. Even network, friends of mine who
I don't
are
know. I don't
network
know.
professionals have been thanking me, saying that they. Oh, here's a good one. What happened to Windows 9? Why was there no Windows 9?
I have no idea.
Oh, my friend.
Oh, wait a minute. No, let me guess. Because 95 and maybe bad version checks?
Yes.
Oh.
Because they had Windows, 95, and then Windows 98, and then Windows Me, and then Windows 7, and then Windows 8. And they realized if they went to 9, there were lots of apps that were searching for versions that start with 9 to spot Windows 95 and Windows 98, meaning those were really old version. So when they first tried builds of Windows 9, all these apps were acting wrong because they thought they were on a really old version of Windows. So they had to give up. And
They went to 10.
yeah, Vista and all the stuff, right? Blah. So yeah, so they just abandoned 9. There was never a Windows 9 because they thought they would confuse it. All right. Got an endorsement here. The IPv5 short was really good.
Scotty.
So, yeah. Suppose I could tell a story 1, 2, and 3 here, but I should save it. Someone wants to hear it. And then we got one about how IPv4 addresses are worth more than gold. Yeah, it's crazy how much IPv4 addresses are going for these days. And it's also crazy how easy it would have been for each of us to grab 1 million IP addresses 12 years ago. And we would all be able to quit this this rat race and go live off our IP money. But we didn't. So here we are. Happy to serve. All right. So we are at 10:45. I think we are calling this. Is there anything we didn't say about IP? Or about, JavaScript. We were talking about how many libraries there are. I want to hear from you a story. I think you know it. What happened with left pad? Right, so JavaScript, there's this giant left pad scandal.
There was a license controversy in a tiny little library called LeftPad that the billions of packages depended on.
So all this code did is, if you wanted, some text aligned, it would put extra spaces, so you could have right align, right? That's all it did, right? It had extra spaces, so you could have all your, if you had a bunch of lines of text, they could all end at the same spot.
Why people couldn't do that themselves, I don't know. But yeah, it broke countless business workflows for however long.
Right, because all these.
But there's more egregious stuff. I mean, that's just. You know about how there's like a CVS has 10 severity, like every other week these days in the JavaScript ecosystem.
There's so many JavaScript libraries. And they're all sort of in this one system, NPM, right? And each of the developers are updating their own libraries at the same time, which is all great when things are working well. Anyone, finds a bug, they fix it and they get it out to everybody. But so many apps are just like pulling stuff, and people get tricked and hackers get in, and people put evil things in code, and then people pull down evil code into their app.
Yeah.
And I guess it's generally known as supply chain attacks, right?
Yeah.
The software supply chain. Everybody's getting these libraries.
Some of them are really, I mean, you got to admire the engineering in some of these things. Some of these worms where they'll like infect your package and then modify the CI in there to like spread to other packages. Wow. That's pretty cool. One of them, I think was like, well, I could just search the entire file system for these like sensitive files, or I could use Claude. So it checks if Claude is on the system, and it asks Claude where all the sensitive files are on this computer. And Claude's like, well, they're over here. You want to see them? What?
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Very funny. All right, I think we are done. There's probably lots more we could have talked about here. We didn't even get into WebAssembly.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah. At one point, we were thinking about using it in Speedify, right?
Yeah, for a little plugin system.
Yeah, having plugins in Speedify where companies or people or developers, whatever, could add extra code right into our VPN, right? You'd be able to, it's basically mostly compiled. It's compiled down to this binary format that like browsers and stuff can run. And it's almost as fast as native code, but it still runs on every operating system.
Yeah.
But in the end, I don't know. Speedify probably doesn't need plugins.
Probably not. Probably not. But if we were to have a plugin system, I think Wasm is a good choice. It's safe, and it's sort of designed for like it's compute, right? So you like give it capabilities for things to do, but it's just in its own little compute sandbox. It can do stuff. It's sort of
It's weird in the browser because they've made it you can download in a web page this super fast code, but like the only thing it's allowed to do is ask the JavaScript to do things for it. Like it doesn't have access. Not only doesn't have access to your files and stuff, which makes sense, but it doesn't have access to draw things in the web page.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit sympathetic towards it. I don't know how. It's definitely easier to get out that as a first draft. Well, just let me run some WebAssembly in the browser. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to, give it access to everything that JavaScript can do, that's harder. And way less portable, too. I mean, like, the browser environment's very different from everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. All right. I think we've run out of questions here. So thank you, everybody. This is awesome. Happy holidays. We'll be back next week. We're not quitting yet. So same time, same place. It'll be good. Any parting words?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. All right. See you online, guys.